If you're watching this, you're probably not of retirement age yet. Retirement might not even be something that's on your mind. I'm 16, and before I started learning about elderly financial issues, I always thought of retirement savings and financial planning as a future me problem. But you'll learn in this module that elderly people are retiring with less and less money. And that's an issue that's going to affect us young people too, not just when we're old. In the next few decades, the baby boomers are going to be entering retirement, and this is the largest generation yet to retire. Without the money to support themselves, many of them could go into poverty, which only adds to the burden of other problems they have, like having to pay for their medical bills or the high cost of housing.
I'm over $5,000 in the hole.
About 2 credit cards in the hole, so.
It's difficult.
Yes, it sure is.
42.5% of seniors 65 and over have debt. That's an increase of 55% since 1999.
It's fun.
Life for 77-year-old Mary McGrory used to be a glamorous affair, but for the last 3 years she's been living alone on the streets of Miami in her van.
The porta potty goes under, should go under there, but I have to have a carpenter arrange that.
Sold my house because I couldn't pay the taxes, pay the gardener, pay everything my mother did. But when she passed on and gave me her house, I began to realize that I couldn't afford it.
Mary tells us she can't even afford basic medication despite the fact she has skin cancer, and living like this isn't helping her chances of moving on.
Here's where we come in. Without proper financial support, many elderly people end up living with their kids or grandkids instead and relying on them for care. 63% of whom dip into their own retirement savings to care for their grandparents and their parents at an average of $10.5 thousand.
I've had to grow up much faster than I expected. I feed her, I make sure she takes her medication, I make sure that she's in bed on time. I need to get home early because grandma's needs trump my.
Yeah, that means as the elderly live longer, everyone faces financial consequences. We focus on 4 main reasons for elderly poverty. They're not getting as much money as they should through Social Security and pensions. They're not saving enough. They're accumulating more and more debt over time from things like medical and housing. And many of them are victims of financial scams, especially from third parties. Imagine if all that was happening to you at the same time during what was supposed to be your golden years. We'll be going over the reasons why all of these are happening in this module. As you go through it, try to think about how these could be prevented. Hope you learned something new.